Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Thursday, February the 24th, starting with Apple here. We can see that it's moving down. We can see that the daily stochastics is also moving down as well. It's not giving a signal at this stage, but I was expecting the market to bounce around the 160 to 158 area, and that would create wave 4 at that point, and then down for wave 5, and looking at this as an A and a B and a C wave here. Let's go to the intraday. I'm just going to go to, I think I've got it here actually. Yeah, so a little bit clearer here. So we can see that we've got this impulse wave here as 1 and 2, and then this third wave moving down. So as I just mentioned, we're looking at the 160 to 158 area in here to have that bounce there, which would also be looking to pull back to the 38.2% retracement level of this move here. If it moves higher than the 165, then we'll have to look at this as a WXY at that point. But I'll just stay with this at the moment. And also too, just on the daily chart here, is that the other interesting aspect here, if I move the 160 now, is we've got the medium level here, 150, that's significant, and then we've got group 2 here, 65, 72 and 80. So the market's basically rejecting the 65 here, and when that occurs, then it will be pulled down to, well, close to the 150 at that point. But as just mentioned, we'll probably see a retest to that space again, to that number, before seeing further downside on the 100 ticks. Just to drill in a little bit further, we're kind of getting there at the moment. Yeah, about that 160 we should see that bounce there. Let me just bring in a little bit more data here for this. We were looking at it, as you know, as wave 1 here, an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here, which is still valid, by the way. So it could hit the 160 area here and then move up. It's only just below the 61.8%. But it's a little bit of a long shot because of where the rest of the market is at that point. But as wave 1 top here, an A and a B and a C, that's still viable. But otherwise we'll have to call this wave 3 down here with wave 1 and 2 and 3. This is the same for Amazon as well, with that wave 2. So with Amazon here, we've got wave 4 here with wave 1 and 2. And we're looking at this as an ABC pattern here. We're currently short under the major trading level 3 there, but it's also possible that, you know, we could see this market move lower. So it's already sort of past its 61.8% or close to it, and but that's okay in a way. I think I'll just take that top there sitting right on it at the moment, so we can expect it to have support there at that point. Let's just move into the 100 tick. So yeah, either wave 2 coming deeper in here, or we'll have a look at a wave 4 coming here, because most of the markets that's had this rally, like this one and Tesla and so forth, like Tesla for example, it's quite clear that we're coming down for a new low for that market. Let's just move in here for a moment. Yeah, so I can stretch this down a bit with wave 1 here, an A wave, a B wave, and 1 and 2, and moving into the 3rd, 4th and 5th here, but it takes us below, it's at the 61.8% now, so we'll get a little bit of support at that point. Let me just, I must have this on 5 ticks or something. All right, this is where we were talking about it yesterday. So wave 1 there, A and a B, and then I was just sort of working this in a better light here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. So we know we're at the 61.8%, so we'll come back and check that for a fourth wave and then a fifth wave and so on to the downside at that point. Yeah, so that's where that is at the moment. And Alphabet here, we've been looking at this in a different way. So wave 3 here with an A and a B and a C wave, also moving down low on the daily chart, so piercing through that 2,500 medium level there. Let's just go to the 100 ticks and get a bit of bearing on that. So the best way to count this down is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and then 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and then the fifth wave down here. So you can kind of see how long we've got to go here. We'll be in a series of 4s and 5s here. So it'll be plus at the medium level here, it's going to be a little bit choppy. So from 100 ticks down to 5 ticks, we'll have a closer look at that. I don't know if we've got much more detail there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming into the third wave here onto the or close to the medium level here. So we'll see, when this happens, we'll see, you know, a few stocks and indices bounce at that point. So it's a good reference point for those. But all in all, we still have further to move down with these markets. So yeah, still a fair way to go in these. And Meta here. So it's basically sinking into the 200 here, and as mentioned yesterday, if a market comes down and hits a large number crisp and cleanly and bounces back, then you know there's a lot of orders at that, buy orders at that number. But it's not what we're seeing here. We're seeing it sink into the mud, and so we'll see it move through that level, and it still has a while to move down from all of this now. So as mentioned yesterday, we're looking at 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and 3, 4, or 4s and 5s coming down into around the 150 eventually for this, and then a rally at that point. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that for the time being, and yeah, when it starts sort of sinking into that level, we'll have a look on the intraday for it, but still more downside there. And Microsoft as well. I'm just looking at this now as well, an A wave, a B wave pulling back up into the 50-60%. And then in this case here, I could count this a little bit differently here. It won't make that much difference for the short term, but we can look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for 1, and then back for 2, and then 3, 4, 5. Or we need to look at this as 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 here, and going into the third wave. So I may need to change this a little bit. We'll just see how that moves along at this point. Let's just take a closer look at this. I haven't really labelled that on this tick chart, so I'll just go into this other one here and see how I've labelled this one. A bit more data in here for that. Yeah, so I know that it can be labelled a bit differently, but there's a bit of an overlap between 4 and 1 here. If I look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1, ABC for 2, and then moving down lower for 3, 4, and 5 here. So there's a bit of overlap on this, but sometimes I see that, you know, when you're working with large numbers, because the large number pulls the market to itself. So we've either got wave 1 coming down here. I mean, either way, coming into the number 8 here, 280, we're going to see that bounce on that number anyway, or close to it. I can still see there'll probably be something like this, but yeah, expect some sort of, if you're short, then that's where you can look at it at that point. So So I might need to look at that as 1 and 2 here. This is a bit what like Tesla's doing at the moment, and then look at this as copy that, put that there as 1 and 2. So we'll just run these two counts. They're both in the same direction, and they will become apparent in due course. But yeah, this number here, and also this old low down here as well, so we can expect some support to come in here. But the main point with this though is that we're going to end up, one way or another, we're going to end up much lower with all of this. So we'll see if we can get a short trade off and around this number here to 280 in due course. We'll just see how far it bounces back, and then we'll be able to look at how we can approach it. But selling into this point here is not going to do us any good. And Tesla here, so with Tesla here we're looking at this coming down to 720 yesterday, and pretty simple sort of A wave, B wave, and 1 and 2, and the third wave and the fourth wave, and then the fifth wave here with 1 and 2, and this third wave stretching out a bit neater here for this, so that's good. And yeah, so coming down into the 700 area, and maybe a lower. We'll just need to track the count as it unfolds to the downside. Let's just see what I've got here. This is 100 ticks. Just getting a bit more data. So we've got 1 and 2. We don't need that. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and ABC for 4 here yesterday, and 1 and 2 here. And just looking for, yeah, just look for all of this as the third wave here. So we're counting down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and coming down for 5. I couldn't kind of figure this last little bit out here. We should see another retest of that 800 in due course. So yeah, still got further to go. It's a little bit tricky to count. I wonder if I need to look at that as 1 and 2 in here and 3 here and 4 and 5, but then I'm still left with further downside here. A little bit unsure, but yeah, we'll probably get a retest of that. Let's just, the other point here is that when we talk about 800, we've got, which is a major level, then we've got group 2 under this, which is 65 here, 65 close enough for the time being, and 72. So this is group 2. This is, if the market's going to kick back to 800, this is where it's going to do it from, because if the 65 becomes the resistance, then we're going to see it drop down to the 50 at that point. But it's normally the group 2 that keeps it to the 800, and when this becomes the resistance, then it's leaving that number and going lower at that point. But either way, we've still got further to go down here. It's very clear that we've got 1 and 2 here. We could probably lift that up a degree of structure, but 3, 4 and 5 coming down. So we had 720 at that point, so it'll just depend on how high wave 4 goes. And then if the extension's in wave 3, then wave 1 and wave 5 can be roughly the same length. So anyway, down about 700, but could be lower, could be shorter. We'll just need to continue to count on the way down. But it does give us that timing of when things can, you know, finish off lower. So with square here, we've got 1 and 2 here, and I can see that this is all like a little third wave in here, but we've still got 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here. So we'll have 3 and 4 and 4 and 5 here before we get to this wave 4, and then we'll have this wave 5 coming down. So in this case, we'll definitely be looking down at 80, if not lower into 72 at this point to finish this market off. Also with the banks, if I can just use Goldman's as an example. So with Goldman's here, let me just get this into the frame here. So with Goldman's here on this daily chart here, I was looking at it as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave, and one of the things that haunted me a little bit was the speed in which this came down here as a C wave. It was more acting like a third wave, but at the same time we could count this back up here as 5 waves to the 61.8%. So that sort of chucked a bit of a spanner in the works and gave us a bit of a bullish thing. So then we decided, well, if that is 5 waves up there, let's wait for 3 waves back into the 50-60% retracement level. But it's sort of coming through that now. We've still got a 3-wave structure here, but it looks like that 3-wave structure is going to turn into 5 waves, so coming lower. And that means that if we've got 5 waves down here, that means that this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here is wrong in some way or another, and we'll have to treat that as corrective. If it does produce 5 waves down through here, then we will see a correction, and then we'll see another move down. So it does appear that the banks are in a weaker situation at the moment. Let's just have a look at this here on the hourly chart. That's where we had it as kind of interesting, because this is where we've had it as 5 waves up here as wave 1, and then an A and a B and a C wave. We're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A wave, the B wave, then 1, 2. Well, we could bring it down to here for 3, 4, 5. So it's not over, but it's not looking good, you know. So we'll just continue to monitor it a little bit. But yeah, if that's 3, 4, I mean, this looks corrective to me here. So yeah, I don't think that I can bring it much. I mean, these, yeah, the fact is that this is 1 and 2, and we can look at this as the 3rd wave here, and maybe even a 4th in there. Or we could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and a 4th and a 5th. So it's cutting hairs a little bit fine, but I think we can still hold this count, but I'm just saying it's looking a bit thin on the ground. So this is corrective. So I mean, it may bounce off here or do something, but if it does come down through here to finish off that C wave, then we'd still need to see 5 waves up there before we went long at that point. So we'd have to be long over here at that point for that. So I'm just going to leave that out of the way, and we can stretch this down to this area here, but it's sort of yeah, I mean, I can look at this as 1 and 2, and then all of the 3rd wave to this point here, but then it's giving us this like 4th wave and 5th wave. So yeah, this ABC here is looking very thin on the ground at this point, so I'm just going to remove that. But if we do get 5 waves here, that means that and we are moving through that now as well. So it's not giving us a clean ABC to the upside. So it's starting to morph into 5 waves to the downside. So that means that we need to readdress this situation in here. And the problem will be in this first little structure here for this, and making it corrective. I just yeah, it just had a nice 5 waves feel to it, and it was kind of in line with Apple and those guys. But yeah, the problem in all of them is back into this little area through here. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the bearish side. We can't really go short here at the moment for this as well, because if this is 1 and 2 and 3 here, and we got 4 and 5 here, well, then we're going to get a move back up again, aren't we? So we're going to get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then we're going to get an ABC pattern here, and then down at that point. So we kind of, if we're going to short this, we have to wait for this now, because otherwise we'll just be chasing it at this point, so that's not going to work out. And the other banks are exactly the same, so I'll just leave it at that for the time being. Alrighty, so that's that. Yeah, so further downside, and when we look at sort of Tesla, I think it gives us a reasonable idea. So if we because it's quite a clean count, if we look at wave 4 here, and then wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 3, 4 and 5, so the distance from here was basically Friday, then Saturday, all that's let me just check on here. Obviously that's the, so it depends on how long wave 4 is going to take us. Wave 2 was basically the 15th to 15, 16, a day there. So we've got probably a week, perhaps, of 4 to 5 days, depending on when this low finishes, how long wave 4 is going to take. Wave 2 was a simple ABC, so we may get something a bit more complex here, and then down again at this point. So we've still got like sort of 4 or 5 days of trading in this space to finish this off, this structure here. So it's a bit of a guide stick really for the rest of the market in one sense. I think we can obviously have a look at other stocks as well, and we will, and that will sort of help us establish when this low's coming in here. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.